You're listening to the So Good It Doesn't Make Sense podcast, a podcast for women navigating divorce who want more. More clarity, more money, more peace, more power. I'm Megan Norris, divorce expert, coach, and the friend who's going to tell you the truth. Not just about what's happening right now, but about what's possible for you next. This podcast is about making decisions you trust, building a life you actually want, and becoming the version of you that no one saw coming. Whether you're in it, ending it, or already out, you're in the right place. You're about to become the CEO of your life and create one so good it doesn't make sense. Let's get started. Oh, hi. Welcome back to the podcast. Happy Monday. I hope you had a great weekend. And if you didn't, I hope that you had so much self-love and so much self-compassion. It's been a wild summer. Am I right? I have seen pretty much across the board in terms of my clients, y'all in my DMs, personally, that this summer has been intense. And I'm not sure it's about to let up anytime soon, but I do feel the season's beginning to change. Yes, I'm here for that. It feels refreshing. We are solidly into our school routine. I am solidly into my 5 a.m. wake up call again. It was easy breezy this morning. I finally slept through the night like a baby, and I have to re-sleep train myself. And we are rocking and rolling on the school year. So thumbs up for that. That feels good. If you haven't started school yet, hang in there. I know that transition, especially if you're getting divorced, especially if you're navigating the first few years after divorce and custody schedules, it can be intense. And in that vein, I want to talk about the importance of your energy, the power of your vibration today to help you remember and create some new neural pathways around remembering that your energy is your most valuable resource. It's your most valuable asset. And it is worth slowing down and paying attention to it. Because let's talk about why. When you are in fight or flight, when you're stressed out, whether it's acute stress or chronic stress, it doesn't matter. And you are not present in your body, you're not taking care of yourself, your frequency, if we were to hook you up to the machines, your frequency would come in lower. It would measure lower, and they can measure it. Okay, so at the bottom of the energetic scale, so to speak, and I'm going to read this to you because I have a book and I will share it with you, so don't worry, is shame and humiliation, guilt and blame, apathy and despair, grief and regret, anxiety and fear, disappointment and longing. So we're moving up the scale here, okay? So when you are in those lower frequencies, right, really not present in your body, not present with your nervous system, this book calls it, well, I don't know if it's this book or if this is the correct psychological term. It's probably psychology, the ego frequency, right? You're very much in the 3D reality of it all. And the only thing your brain is focused on is surviving the very next step. Just one foot in front of the other. I got to get to the next thing. And there's not a lot of presence with yourself, how you're feeling, what's going on. There's not a lot of intentional thought happening because your thinking brain, your critical thinking brain, your creative thinking brain has kind of been hijacked. Now listen, these are not bad places to be. It's not bad. Okay, we're just measuring a number, like you would weigh apples at the grocery store. Okay, you get a number, you get a lower number if you take apples off and a higher number if you put apples on. Okay, so this is important because you have the power and ability to impact and influence the unseen, unconscious energy of those around you. If you have kids, then you know this well. The calmer you are, the calmer they are. The more you mirror back their dysregulation, the more dysregulated they get, right? So I used to do this all the time. If my kid's anxious, then I'm anxious. If my child's mad, I'm getting frustrated, right? And the dysregulation just sort of starts to build on itself, and nobody's really present in their body, and nobody has agency over how they're feeling. We're just being very reactive. Okay. So our energy, we are all energetic beings, and are influenced by other people's energy and have the ability to influence other people with our energy. Okay. So as we move up the energetic frequency scale, all the way up to, on this scale that I'm looking at in this book, enlightenment, although now they've done research that there's potentially a higher frequency than enlightenment and bliss, that they're calling authenticity. I think it's truth, and we're going to come back to this. I think when you are present with your truth in not a reactive way, not a stressful, not a fight or flight way, but in a compassionate, this is my truth way, then you are the highest vibrating, you are embodying the highest vibration that we can as a human being. It's not so easy to access that, by the way. I've accessed it, I think, a handful of times, like in a very intense grief moment, a couple times when I've manifested something really amazing and joyful. But when we're like stripped down to nothing, we got nothing left but the truth of who we are and how we feel about something, and we're aware of it and we're intentional with it, that's when we are the most powerful. Now, I'm going to read you some research real quick from a book called Quantum Love. You've probably heard me talk about this before. The author is Dr. Laura Berman. And it is about romantic relationships, although maybe not. I don't remember. I've read the book a long time ago. It could be friendships too, but I think it's mostly about romantic relationships. Okay. And it's a fantastic book. I love the first couple chapters of this book because she dives into the quantum physics of it all. And when I read this, it blew my mind, and it helped me create the whole concept of being the CEO of your divorce. And if you've followed my work on Instagram for a while, then you've heard me talk about this. I also have a masterclass called, I pulled it up so I could tell you, I have the Become the CEO of Your Divorce Starter Kit. And I am actually going to remember to put the link to this kit in the show notes of this show. Inside, I think it's $100, and you get 4 masterclasses: how to be the CEO of your divorce and life, how to be okay when your kids are not, screw the high road, it's exhausting, and Divorced Entrepreneur's Road to 100K. All 4 of those masterclasses are in this kit. And in the How to Be the CEO of Your Divorce, there is, I have a video, and you can get the visual of this, and I unpack it even more. So that link is in the show notes, but I'm going to read you just an excerpt from this book here on the podcast. Okay. She says, what you need to know is that the highest frequency has an amazing capacity for counterbalancing those who are calibrating at a lower frequency on a personal level as well as a global one. When you move yourself into a higher frequency, you are not only drastically improving your relationship dynamics, but actually changing the world for the better. According to Hawkins' calculations, the scientists, of the different calibrations and their impact, one individual calibrating at love and reverence counterbalances 750,000 people below or in ego frequency, in the lower frequencies of our human emotion. Okay, listen, I'm going to keep going. One individual in bliss, okay, we could sub authenticity in truth, counterbalances 10 million individuals below 200 or in ego frequency, which is the shame, humiliation, guilt, and shame, all the way up to let's see, scorn and enlightenment. No, scorn and entitlement. I'm sorry. I have reached the age where I need reading glasses and I don't have them with me. Wow. Okay. So just one individual in their truth, in the bliss of their truth, even if it's painful, counterbalances 10 million people who are operating in entitlement, anger, and below. Okay. Now, most of us are not going to spend much of our time in enlightenment. And we bless and thank the monks and sages in the world who can hold that place for us. I'm just have one more sentence. If this works exponentially on a global level, imagine what happens in your relationships. When you are in a higher frequency, our high vibrating energy can help balance or even raise the frequency of those around us as they entrain to us, as they calibrate to us. Okay. If you are still getting divorced, your management of your frequency and your energy is your most powerful strategic action step. It is the most important thing you can do. And I don't want you to hear me saying that you have to feel good in order to be this powerful. Remember that truth is not always comfortable, right? The truth may be, I'm feeling so angry and betrayed right now. That's my truth. I own that. And I am going to use this energy responsibly to create an outcome that aligns with what I believe is best and what I want. The power of you being willing to name the emotion and then be intentional about how you use that energy instead of reactive to it makes you the most powerful person at the table in the negotiations. You are inviting the professionals, the lawyers, the therapists, the accountants, the paralegals into a higher frequency. You're also inviting your ex and your kids into a higher frequency. The higher we can get everybody operating, the better the outcome's going to be. This is true after divorce too, with your co-parent, with your boss, with, manifesting your first client if you decide you're going to be an entrepreneur. Your energy is inviting people either up or down. And if you take responsibility for how you feel instead of saying, I don't have control over it, I'm outsourcing this to somebody I'm divorcing, or I'm outsourcing it to a lack of results in my business, I'm outsourcing it to my money or my kids having a hard time, I can't possibly own how I'm feeling right now or feel in charge of it because something outside of me is creating it. You are at the mercy of everyone else's energy. When you harness your own energy, when you understand what that means and how to do that, which is what I teach, you become the most powerful and most influential person at the table. And the ripple effect can't be overstated. It cannot be overstated. I have had a small group program running since January, and I have seen what's so fun about this group and has been so interesting and sort of mind-blowing for me to watch is that when one of the group members is having really struggling with something, the other group members who probably aren't at the same time, right? Or even if they are, they can look at someone else's circumstances and they can see the coaching, they can see the optimal angle. And so in looking at someone else's struggle, they calibrate to a higher level to support them. And then that energy invites the person struggling into a higher frequency with a new thought or a new idea or a new way to look at it, or just being witnessed. The energy of being relationally witnessed is priceless. It makes you so powerful, because when you're on your own and you think, this is a me problem. What's my problem? I shouldn't be feeling this way. I should know what to do. This shouldn't be so hard for me still. You become the obstacle to your own transformation, because the brain that created the problem can't also see outside of the problem. So then the group members, they start feeding on each other, right? The energy starts building. And what might have started out really heavy at the first of the call or in a Telegram chat turns into a very high vibration exchange between all of us by the end. And then that energy is taken from them out into their field of influence, their realm of influence, right? With their kids and their coworkers and their exes and their co-parents, and magical things start to happen. Things start working out. They start seeing synchronicities that they may not have seen before. And it is, at least in part, right? I can't say it's all, because I can't measure that, but it's in large part because they are taking responsibility and ownership over their frequency and their energy. And it's not about feeling good. I know your brain wants to make it about that, but it's not. It's about your authentic experience. Hey, I really don't like this, and that's okay. But then being reminded that when you don't like something and you feel awful about it, it's not a problem you need to fix. Nothing is a problem you need to fix. Okay? Your energy is your most valuable resource, and it's your most powerful resource. And when you learn to harness it and use it for you, instead of leaking it out everywhere in reaction to what the world is offering you, what your 3D reality is offering you, you really do change the game in terms of being able to collapse time, manifest things seemingly, quote, out of the blue, work with energy, not just action. Because there is a tipping point. Especially if you're a single parent, but even if you're not, even if you're just divorced, you don't have kids, there's only so much you can do in a day. And when, I have 3 kids, I have 6 different drop-offs every day. And now my middle goes to school later. So I have between 8:30 and 2:30 every day to make this work, right? I can't fit more in a day. So I have had to learn to work with energy instead. And it's so much more fun, but initially it's so much more uncomfortable because I'm so used to doing. And for me to train my brain that it's safe to slow down and focus on being who I'm being and what I'm feeling and being intentional about that was very uncomfortable at first. I said this to a client this morning. There is nothing casual about ease. There is nothing accidental about simplicity or ease. Those things require intention and intensity. The same intensity you bring to overfunctioning must also be brought with intention to the ease and simplicity. But those things are available to you. Life can be easier. You can get divorced with more ease. You can be divorced with more ease. But there's nothing casual about that shift. it's intense and it requires work. And the things that are going to feel like the most work will look like the least. Isn't that insane? But they're the most effective. They're the most effective. I cannot encourage you enough to grab the kit below if you have never, especially if you are not familiar with, if you have never attended a masterclass with me or you're new to my work, this kit is a fantastic sampling of, especially if you're still getting divorced, of how to navigate the divorce process, how to show up for your kids when they're not okay, how I made my first 100K after my divorce. I wasn't making any money when my divorce was final, and I made over 6 figures between March of that year and the December of that year. So in 9 months, I went from nothing to a over 6-figure business blowing right past the 100K mark. That masterclass is in there. And then what's the other one? Wait a minute. I'm going to look again. Screw the high road. It's exhausting. I need to do a whole episode on this. I hate the cliche divorce advice. Take the high road. Be the bigger person. No. Stop doing that. There's a better way that uses your energy much more effectively than just this blanket take the high road. That is such a stressful way to get divorced. So that masterclass is in there too. Grab that kit and I will see you back here next week. Y'all take care. Bye. Thanks for listening to the So Good It Doesn't Make Sense podcast. If today's episode resonated, please take a minute and leave a review. It helps women find this work and change their lives and divorces too. For more support, be sure you follow me on Instagram at Megan Norris Coaching. That's where I share real-time strategy, perspective, and what it actually looks like day to day. And when you're ready to go deeper, join the Divorce Academy, my monthly membership for women navigating divorce with clarity, power, and community. I'll see you next week. This podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for legal, financial, or mental health advice. Please consult with licensed professionals as needed.